I stood at the edge of the pond, the water's surface shimmering like glass under the fading sun. The air was thick with the scent of damp earth and fresh pine, each breath filling my lungs with both calm and chaos. Maplewood, Oregon is supposed to be tranquil, the perfect little nook where everyone knows your name. But that day, it felt like a cage I couldn't escape. I could almost hear the laughter of my neighbors echoing in the distance, their carefree chatter reminding me of my own past joys. But now it only deepened the pit in my stomach. Clara, are you coming back to the barbecue or what? Shouted my younger sister, Mia, her voice breaking through my thoughts. She was gesturing wildly, flipping her long, dark hair away from her face. The sunlight danced off her golden skin, and she looked so vibrant and alive. It struck me how out of sync we were, as if I were dulled down by a heavy weight she couldn't even see. I turned away from the pond, trying to shake off the chill that had settled within me ever since that fateful day 6 months ago. In a minute, I'm just enjoying the scenery, I called back, forcing a smile that I hoped reached my eyes. In truth, I was still wrestling with the remnants of anger and humiliation swirling inside me like a storm just waiting for its signal to unleash havoc. It was all triggered by Henry, my ex-boyfriend, the man who had managed to turn my heart into a dark pit of betrayal. My mind still replayed that terrible moment, the raw sting of his words slicing right through me. I never loved you, Clara. It was all a game. The memory ignited my fury. I could almost hear the laughter of him and his new girlfriend, Maya, echoing in my ears. I turned back to the pond, the stillness of the water now reflecting my own turmoil. Who do you think you are? I murmured to my reflection, anger bubbling to the surface. I was the girl who spent years nursing dreams and painting a future around someone who had only seen me as a hobby. It wasn't just heartbreak. It was a betrayal deep enough to wrap itself around my heart like a vice. Clara, seriously, what's up with you? Mia's concerned voice cut through my spiral of thoughts again, breaking like the surface of the water beneath a stone. I took a deep breath and wiped my palms on my dress, trying to gather some sort of semblance of composure. I'm fine, Mia, I lied, but my voice seemed to tremble. Just lost in my thoughts. How many times do I have to tell you not to overthink? You've got a whole summer ahead of you. Get over that loser and enjoy it. She laughed, not realizing how her carefree attitude made me feel like a brick in a backpack, heavy and unmovable. Easy for you to say, I muttered under my breath, not intending for her to hear. I felt like I was in an entirely different universe than her, one where laughter froze and the clouds turned gray. Looming over me like a storm, Mia ambled closer, her brow furrowed. Clara, I can see that look in your eyes. You're not fooling anyone. What's really going on? I thought you were done with him? Pretty sure I am, I sighed, forcing my gaze out across the pond. The water rippled as a breeze swept through, a subtle reminder of how easily things could change. It's just hard sometimes, seeing you all happy and me, stuck here moping around. Mia plopped down beside me on a weathered log, concern etched on her features. Listen, I know Henry was a jerk, but you are so much better than him. This is your chance to shine. You do not need his shadow hanging over you. Her words served like kindling to my inner fire, igniting something fierce inside of me. I am going to show him that I am better off without him, Mia. It's about time I take charge and turn this pain into power. Mia's eyes widened as she regarded me, a glimmer of something in her gaze. Was it pride? Well, that sounds like the Clara I know, but how do you plan to do that? What do you mean, take charge? I turned to her, my resolve hardening. I am going to make sure he regrets ever letting me go. He needs to see that I can make my own way. No more shadows. I'll find a way to let him know that he will miss me, even if it takes every last ounce of my creativity. That could get dangerous, Mia warned, her voice laced with the kind of concern only a sister could have. You know how his temper can be. I shook my head, feeling a wild grin pull at my lips. I don't care. This is not about him hurting me. This is about me turning it all around. I'm tired of being the victim in this story. If there's one thing I learned, it's this. Sometimes you have to get a little ugly to write your own narrative. Mia laughed nervously, probably unsure of how to respond to my newfound fervor. I'm gonna need to see proof of this change, Clara. No more sitting by the pond. Consider it done, I said, my heart racing as every word I spoke sparked a fire within me. I could feel plans formulating at the edges of my mind as new strategies emerged. I was going to show Henry that Clara Jensen wasn't just a footnote in his life. I was going to become the headline. I'll find out what makes him tick and then flip the script on him. He will see me as I will become, not the faint impression of who I used to be. For real? What are you thinking? Mia asked, caught up in the current of my enthusiasm but still cautious, her eyes searching my face for any sign of regret or doubt. Let's just say I have a few tricks up my sleeve, I replied, laughter spilling from my lips as the weight began to lift, excitement replacing the hurt I had been nursing. He thinks he knows everything about me, but I am about to rewrite that narrative. It's high time I take charge of my story. Mia leaned in closer, the mood between us shifting as she realized I meant every word. Okay then, I'm on board. Just promise me you won't go too far. You know how his new girlfriend is. I waved her off, the full intention of her warning clear, but I was determined. Maya's just a pawn in this game, Mia. She has no idea what she signed up for. I will handle everything. Just keep your eyes open. It's my turn to take control of the situation. I cannot stay trapped in the past forever. With that, the night stretched before us like an open canvas, ready for the strokes of revenge I intended to paint. Little did I know that what lay ahead would test not just my resolve, but also lead me down a path I could not fully foresee. But for the first time in a long while, I felt a thrill in my heart, the beginnings of something electric buzzing under my skin. My story was just beginning, and this time, I was determined to write the ending myself. The sound of the wind, whipping through the trees, felt like 1,000 whispers wrapping around me, coaxing me out of the fog of my thoughts. I stood on the cracked pavement of Maplewood Park, its forgotten corners now more significant than ever to me. Everything around me seemed muted, the colors washed out under the gray sky, but my heart was racing, pulsing with newfound determination. I could almost feel the weight of revenge pressing down on me, mingling with the bitter chill in the air. I took a deep breath, inhaling the scent of damp earth and pine, and felt the urge to shake off this overwhelming burden. Jesus, Clara, is this how it is going to go? This whole path of vengeance, is it real? The memories nagged at me, unrelenting. The day I lost everything still haunted me. I could still hear Jonathan's laughter echoing, loved by everyone, an endless charm, a blissful arrogance that charmed their hearts and twisted my reality. Clara, there you are. The sound of Sarah's voice cut through my thoughts, and I turned to see her making her way towards me, her blonde hair bouncing like sunshine, a stark contrast to my somber mood. She wore a bright yellow raincoat, splattered with paint stains from her recent art project, and her smile was warm and genuine, like a cup of hot cocoa on a winter day. Hey, Sarah, I replied, forcing a smile to my lips, even though my mind was wrestling with darker thoughts. What are you doing out here in this weather? You know it might start pouring soon, right? She said, pulling the collar of her coat up around her neck as if the cold could sneak in even through her bright barrier. I just needed some air, I sighed, inhaling deeply again. I've been feeling a bit claustrophobic, I guess. My heart tightened at the thought of my life, the walls closing in, with Jonathan's shadow stretching ominously across everything. You mean about what happened last month? She asked, her tone shifting from cheerful to concerned, her brows knitting together. That damn party that went off without me, where everyone took sides and Jonathan thrived in his toxic charm, leaving me as nothing but an afterthought. Yeah, that. I studied her face, searching for a way to unburden myself without spilling the entire story. It's just hard to see them all. It feels like a cruel joke, like everyone else is moving on and I'm still stuck in the past. Clara, she said softly, you are not stuck. You are so much more than what they think of you. You have so much potential, you just need to believe it. Her blue eyes were fiercely earnest, and for a brief moment I felt a flicker of hope, but the darkness inside me, the quiet rage, was relentless. Yeah, well, it's not that easy, I murmured, my voice trailing off. My thoughts turned back to Jonathan, his smugness, the way he effortlessly commanded a room, the way he made me feel invisible. If only they knew the truths I held. Believe in yourself, Clara. You know what they did to you is who you are, she pressed, tilting her head slightly, urging me to open up. I turned my gaze towards the playground in the distance, kids laughing, their joy a painful contrast to my internal storm. Each swing and slide felt like another reminder that I was missing out. I guess it's just it feels personal, like they viewed me as some sort of joke. Sarah matched my gaze, her frown deepening. You should confront them then, face them. Stop letting them have power over you like this. Her words tugged at me, pulling me closer to a realization of what I really needed to do. I can't just confront them, Sarah. What would that achieve? It would only amplify how they see me. But even as I said those words, my heart raced with a thrilling fear, the kind that made me feel alive. What about Jonathan? I know he hurt you the worst. Are you just going to let him walk away with his life while you're here, bearing the scars? Her voice was steadfast, unwavering, a lit spark in the darkness I had settled into. I've thought about it, about getting back at him in some way, I admitted, feeling the rush of adrenaline flood my veins. The sensation felt like a siren call, and I could not help but lean into it. Really? What's the plan? She asked, her eyes widening, bubbling with excitement as if I had shared a secret. I hesitated, the full weight of what I intended to do suddenly looming large in my mind. I haven't completely figured it out yet, but I've got a few ideas. What do you mean by ideas? I took a deep breath, looking Sarah directly in her bright eyes. Okay, here's the thing. Jonathan isn't just some random jerk. He has a reputation, a life he's built with all of them believing he's flawless. And maybe I can find a way to shake that foundation. Like what? Expose him? She asked, almost skeptical. But there was a spark of intrigue in her tone, too, a flickering flame that echoed my own excitement. Not expose him, but change how they see him. I know secrets. I've heard whispers about him, things he thinks nobody knows. The thrill of holding such information felt like power, and I wanted to grip it tightly. Her interest piqued, she leaned closer, whispering conspiratorially, "What do you know?" Little things, like how he lied to get a promotion at work. Everybody thinks he's the golden boy, but they have no idea about the shortcuts he has taken. Just speaking those words released something inside of me. A tight knot began to unravel, a sense of freedom starting to break through. Sarah's expression transformed into a mix of admiration and doubt. That could definitely work, but it's risky, Clara. What if it backfires? A wave of uncertainty washed over me, but my sense of defiance cut through it. Maybe, or maybe it's exactly what I need. I've spent too long feeling like I'm beneath him. It's time I show everyone the truth. Just be careful, all right? You don't want to get hurt more than you already are, she warned, her tone turning serious, yet there was an unspoken support lying beneath. I won't, I promise, Sarah, I'm done being scared. My voice steadied, and I felt a sense of clarity slowly emerging, like the first rays of sunlight breaking through a thick fog. As we stood beneath the gloomy sky, I knew I was inching toward a path that would lead me closer to redemption. And behind me, the remnants of who I once was started to fade, along with the laughter of those who would soon feel the weight of my resolve. I glanced over at Sarah, and though she looked worried, there was a glimmer of understanding as if she had seen me wake up from a long slumber. Okay, I believe you, Clara. Just remember, I'm here for you. Always, she said, and her unyielding support wrapped around me like a blanket, keeping me warm. Thanks, Sarah. I squeezed her shoulder, feeling the connection between us more than I had in a long while. I really appreciate it. I need someone in my corner. With shared confidences hanging in the air, I stood there, feeling the thrill of the upcoming storm brewing within me. The winds picked up, rustling the leaves around us, teasing at the possibilities. Each breath filled with anticipation, and as I looked toward the path ahead, I realized I was no longer just a victim of their laughter. I was ready to start writing my own story, a story laced with the kind of revenge that would echo long after my voice fell silent. I stood in front of the mirror, my heart thumping as I adjusted the collar of my crisp white shirt. The stale air in my small Maplewood apartment felt heavy, like it was weighing down my resolve. Today was the day I would confront Jeremiah. After months of plotting and waiting, I was finally ready to put my plan into action. Looking at my reflection, I could see the fierce determination in my hazel eyes, but beneath that there was a flicker of fear. What if he still had the power to break me? My thoughts drifted back to that fateful day when he'd ripped my world apart, his laughter echoing in my ears, cold and mocking. I shivered at the memory, but then shook it off. No more letting him control my emotions. Today, I would take back my power. I pulled out my phone and glanced at the message I had sent him last night. "We need to talk. Meet me at the old diner at 2." His reply had come almost instantly. "Sure, sounds good." Little did he know, this meeting was not just a casual catch-up. I wanted him to feel the weight of his betrayal. I left the apartment, taking a deep breath to steady myself as I stepped into the cool autumn air. The trees in my neighborhood were ablaze with color, golden leaves swirling down like little pieces of fire falling from the sky. I made my way to the diner, each step purposeful, replaying the plan in my head. When I arrived, the familiar neon sign flickering overhead greeted me with a touch of nostalgia mixed with bitterness. The worn-out booths and the scent of frying bacon brought back memories of happier times, back when Jeremiah and I were inseparable. Walking inside, I felt a wave of anxiety wash over me. The sound of clinking plates and chatter filled the air, but all I could hear was my heartbeat thumping in my ears. I took a seat at a booth in the far corner, the perfect spot to observe without being too obvious. I wanted the element of surprise on my side. Time dragged on as I waited, my foot tapping nervously on the linoleum floor, each tick of the old clock above the counter working against me. Every shadow that moved through the cramped diner made my stomach twist. Would he come? Would he recognize the intensity behind my gaze? Just as I thought my nerves might consume me, the door creaked open. There he was, looking exactly as I remembered him. His dark hair was tousled just the way I used to like it, and his smile was still that charming, mischievous grin that had once melted my heart. But today, all I felt was anger simmering below the surface. He glided over to me, his eyes briefly scanning the diner before landing on me. "Clara, long time no see," he said as if we were old friends. I forced a smile that felt unnatural. "Right, almost like you've been avoiding me," I shot back, my voice steady despite the whirlwind of emotions inside. His smile faltered for just an instant, and I saw a flicker of confusion in his eyes before he took a seat across from me. "I wouldn't say that. I have been busy with work and—" He trailed off, looking around the diner. "But really, it's great to see you." I leaned forward, letting the venom in my words seep through. "Is that what you tell all your ex-girlfriends?" He looked taken aback, but I could see the wheels turning in his head. "Ex-girlfriends? Come on, Clara, that was years ago. We were young and things happened." "Things happened?" I echoed, my voice rising. "You mean you used me as a stepping stone and then tossed me aside when I was no longer useful to you?" Let's not sugarcoat it, Jeremiah. His expression shifted from confusion to defensiveness. You're being dramatic. We both made mistakes. Mistakes? You nearly ruined my life? I shot back, my emotions boiling over. Every word I spoke was laden with the years of hurt I had tried to suppress. You think you can just walk back into my life and pretend like everything is fine? Well, it is. I never meant to hurt you, Clara. It was complicated, he began, but I interrupted him. Complicated for you, maybe? You didn't have to watch your dreams implode because of betrayal. You didn't have to pick up the pieces while I was left in the dust. The diner around us seemed to fade away, the sounds of forks clinking and waitresses calling out orders dimming into the background. All I could focus on was the man sitting in front of me, the very essence of my pain. He opened his mouth to say something, but I could see the regret in his eyes now, like a film strip of remorse playing out. Look, Clara, I am sorry. I really am. Can we just? I slammed my hand on the table, making him jump. No, no more apologies, no more excuses. I want to make sure you never forget what you did to me. Confusion washed over his face as he leaned back, trying to regain his composure. What are you talking about? I'm talking about justice. You betrayed me, and you thought you could just forget about it and move on with your life. But no one gets to hurt me and walk away scot-free. The determination in my voice surprised even me. I've spent years figuring out how to make you feel just a fraction of the pain you caused, and today I'm taking the first step. Clara, you are scaring me, he said, but the trembling in his voice only sparked a sense of satisfaction within me. Good, you should be scared. I leaned in closer, lowering my voice to a conspiratorial whisper. You think I don't know what you're up to now? You pretend to be the perfect employee, Mr. Unbreakable, while backstabbing everyone around you. His eyes widened, darting around as if searching for an escape. That's not true. Don't lie to me, I hissed, the fury in my chest igniting a fire that burned hotter with each revelation. I know about the shady deals you make, the clients you keep in the dark. You haven't changed. You're still the same self-serving coward. I will expose you for what you are. Clara, please, he pleaded, the bravado from earlier evaporating. You're taking this too far. We can work this out. Oh, we will, but only on my terms. With that, I slid a piece of paper across the table, the corners frayed, the ink fresh and bold. Here are the names of everyone you've screwed over at work, and I have evidence that ties you to each of their misfortunes. You could lose everything. His face drained of color as he grabbed the paper, staring at the names as if they were a death sentence. You wouldn't, you Ka? Watch me. I've got nothing left to lose. You thought you could ruin me, but you awakened a darkness inside that you should never have messed with. For a moment, silence fell between us, thick and suffocating like the air before a storm. I could see him weighing his options, and I reveled in the power I held over him. The fear in his eyes only fueled my determination. My heart raced, not with anxiety, but with exhilaration as I realized I had become the architect of his downfall. The tables had turned, and for the first time I was the one in control. Clara Jensen stood in front of the mirror, examining the reflection of her eyes. They were darker now, shadowed with the weight of secrets and plans steadily brewing in her mind. The modest apartment felt suffocating, four walls almost closing in on her, a cage built by betrayal and pain. She could still hear their laughter, Maya and Ethan's mocking tones echoing in her thoughts as she recalled the betrayal that turned her life upside down. I trusted you both, she murmured under her breath, fists clenching in a burst of frustration. The words felt like venom in her throat, bitter and sharp. What had started as simple friendship had morphed into a tangled web of lies and deceit. It wasn't just about the man she once loved. It was also about losing her best friend, a sister in spirit. Clara forced herself away from the mirror, her heart hammering with determination. Enough is enough. Time to fight fire with fire. She headed toward her makeshift kitchen, rummaging through drawers and cabinets. Her fingers brushed against old recipe cards, the remnants of a peaceful life before chaos invaded. The perfect meal for two, she whispered, a twisted smile creeping across her face. The plan formed as she set out ingredients. Cooking was always a comfort to her, a way to control her surroundings. Tonight would be different. Clara set the water to boil and grabbed the spices, letting their aroma fill the air. Sweet revenge, seasoned to perfection, she mused, her heart racing with excitement. As she stirred the pot, the steam rising like the shadows of her rage, her phone buzzed on the counter. She hesitated, staring at the screen, stomach twisting with anxiety. The name was familiar. Ethan had sent a text, and for a moment she felt a flicker of uncertainty. Hey, are we still on for tonight? Maya is looking forward to it. Her fingers hovered over the screen. What to say? Do I play the part of the jilted ex, or do I show them the real Clara? After a few moments of internal struggle, she replied, Absolutely. Can't wait to see you both. The message sent, Clara went back to her simmering meal, the heat mixing with the fire growing inside her. With every stir, she imagined how their faces would morph when they realized the truth that she had not yet fully decided on, but that she could weave like a master storyteller. Suddenly, the doorbell rang, breaking her concentration. They are early, she said under her breath, forcing a calm exterior that belied the storm stirring within her. Clara quickly wiped her hands on a towel, taking a deep breath to steady herself. Game face on, she whispered as she opened the door to reveal Ethan and Maya. They looked radiant, laughter spilling from their lips as they stepped inside, brightening the dim apartment. Hey, Clara, smells amazing in here. Ethan exclaimed, his dimples deepening as his smile broadened. Maya beamed beside him, her long, dark hair cascading over her shoulder. You have been cooking up something delicious, haven't you? It feels like a feast? Just trying to impress you both, Clara said, keeping her tone light even as her heart thundered in her chest. She slid out of the way, ushering them into the warmth of her home with a false sense of hospitality. Make yourselves comfortable. I appreciate you both coming over. As they settled at the small dining table, Clara's mind raced. You have no idea what is coming. With her back turned to them, she focused on serving food, pouring generous portions that she hoped would keep them engaged. You know, Clara, Maya said, we have missed you. It has been too long since we all hung out like this. Clara turned, forcing a grin onto her face. Yeah, I guess life just got in the way. You should let life take you for a ride more often, Ethan added, reaching over to squeeze her shoulder in a friendly manner. For a moment, she almost felt the warmth of friendship shining through again. But I have to admit, she continued, I've been spending a lot of time on myself lately, tried learning away from the distractions. Maya raised an eyebrow, leaning forward. You mean like self-care? I did that for a while, but the truth is you need friends to help you along the way. Clara chuckled lightly. Oh, I have all the care I need right here. She gestured toward the table and the aromatic food steaming before them, her heart pounding in sync with the thoughts racing through her mind. You just have to dive in and try it. As they began eating, Clara watched them closely, the satisfaction swelling within her as she served them their portion of betrayal hidden beneath layers of spices and sauce. This is delicious, Clara, Maya exclaimed, her eyes sparkling with genuine pleasure. Can you share this recipe? Clara grinned, a feeling of empowerment consuming her as the meal faded from her thoughts to a mere backdrop for what she was truly cooking. If you both stick around long enough, perhaps I can show you exactly how I made it. As laughter filled the room, Clara let herself plunge deeper into the role of the kind host, but her mind was already spinning a larger tapestry of vengeance. She caught Ethan's gaze lingering on her. I have heard you have been painting again. Words were like a trap, and Clara took the bait. I have, glad you noticed. It's been therapeutic, she replied, hiding the tumult within. Her thoughts clung to memories of paint splatters and late nights drowning in colors, using art to navigate her emotions. You have such a talent, Ethan encouraged, and something twisted inside her. You know, I used to feel like I mattered, she said, the bitterness almost infecting her words. Maya frowned slightly, picking up on the sudden shift in Clara's tone. Of course you matter, Clara. We are your friends and we care about you. Clara's mind spiraled. Caring, is that what friends do? You know we do, Ethan chimed in, his voice steady but misplaced. You just need to let us in. The comment stung, pulling at the edges of Clara's resolve. Let you in? Is that what you both did to me? She spat before she could catch herself. Ethan recoiled slightly, surprise washing over his features. Maya's eyes widened and she looked between them nervously. What do you mean? Clara, Ethan spoke slowly. That was a while ago. We thought you would forgive us. Clara crossed her arms over her chest defiantly. I should forgive you? Everything just goes back to being okay and we forget that trust was broken? The air in the apartment thickened, tangible tension wrapping around them all as the reality of her words settled. But we've made mistakes, Maya pleaded, her voice softening. Haven't we all? Clara stared at them, a storm brewing in her chest, mixing anger with a sense of empowerment. You too laughed about me. My trust was like a fragile glass, shattered by your careless hands. Silence hung heavy, an unspoken truth beating like a drum. Clara could feel their regret swirling in the air around them, but it was too late for apologies or half-hearted reassurances. The fire inside her flickered, blazes of fury sweeping against her heart as she took a step closer. Tonight, you will truly understand what you have lost, she declared, her words slicing through the remnants of friendship. Ethan shifted uncomfortably, and Maya looked away, their faces painted with the realization that this meal was not about reconciling. It was just the beginning of Clara's tale of revenge. Clara resumed her cooking, a smirk hidden beneath her determined expression. You wanted an invitation into my life, wanted to feast with me. Enjoy what I have prepared, because tonight you will get more than a meal. You will experience the bitterness of betrayal on your tongues. She felt invigorated, a sense of empowerment rumbling within her like a tidal wave as she stirred the pot, adding just a pinch more spiciness into the mix. The table was set, but it was no longer about indulgence. It was a banquet for two unwitting guests, and Clara's heart danced at the thought of what was about to unfold. More wine. She offered, pouring the rich liquid into their glasses, a subtle toast to her orchestrated chaos. To surprises, her voice chimed. Ethan and Maya raised their glasses, oblivious to the brewing storm just beneath the surface. Clara clinked her glass against theirs, her resolute smile betraying the depth of her intentions. Knowing what she had left was far more gratifying than mere friendship. I stood in front of the old mirror in my small Maplewood apartment, staring at my own reflection as I tried to calm the storm of emotions swirling inside me. The past few weeks had disintegrated the fragile peace I had built, and now my heart raced with anticipation and dread. I felt my fingers tighten around the edge of the sink, the cold ceramic grounding me. I could almost still hear the echo of Eric's laughter. The sound of his voice as he taunted me made me feel small. I hated him for that. I hated him for ruining my life. This was it. I had to confront him. My heart thumped harder as the clock ticked closer to our meeting. I had orchestrated everything carefully, making sure that Eric would be alone at the old diner just outside of town. The place was a swirl of nostalgia, the kind of greasy spoon where I had spent countless afternoons with friends, blissfully unaware of the treachery that would come to define my life. I could hear my thoughts racing, whispering doubts trying to creep in. Am I really going to do this? I asked myself, my reflection answering back with a fierce determination. Yes, you are. I took a deep breath and stepped out of my apartment, the door clicking shut behind me like the snap of fate. As I drove toward the diner, my stomach twisted in knots, each turn amplifying the weight of what I was about to do. The smell of fried food hit my nostrils as I entered the diner, a mix of greasy burgers and burnt coffee. The bell above the door jingled, announcing my arrival. The fluorescent lights buzzed overhead, casting a harsh glow over the lacquered tables. Eric was already seated in a booth at the back, his back turned to me, hunched over a cup of coffee. I felt my heart skip a beat. The anger inside me flared. He looked so unassuming, so casual, like the generational thief he had become. He doesn't deserve to feel safe, I thought, even as I battled with fear. I approached slowly, each step heavy with purpose. Just as I reached him, Eric turned, a smirk forming on his lips when he recognized me. Clara, I didn't expect to see you here, he said, his tone dripping with false friendliness. I forced a smile, my voice steady but filled with ice. Yeah, well, I thought we needed to talk. I slid into the booth across from him, my body vibrating with adrenaline. Talk about what? He asked, feigning ignorance. I leaned forward, a fire igniting within me. About how you ruined my life, Eric. I couldn't keep the bitterness from seeping into my tone. You betrayed me and left me for dead, and I want to know why. Eric chuckled, leaning back, clearly amused. Oh, come on, Clara, that was a long time ago. You should really let it go. He waved his hand dismissively, and I felt a surge of anger. Let it go, let what go? The fact that you cheated, lied, and destroyed everything I believed in? I paused and studied his face, searching for any hint of remorse. You think this is all a joke? I could feel my pulse quickening, my frustration at his nonchalance igniting a spark of hesitation. He shrugged, the smirk never leaving his face. It happens to all of us, sweetheart. You should know that by now, just move on. My breath caught in my throat at his casual cruelty. It felt like ice slicing through my heart. Move on, I repeated, my voice trembling with equal parts anger and disbelief. Do you even hear yourself? He leaned closer, his expression turning serious, the facade of indifference slipping just a little. What do you even want from me? An apology? You think I would really say I'm sorry after everything? That would kill the joke. Something inside me snapped. You are such a coward, Eric. You think you can waltz through life without consequences? You think you can treat people like pawns in your little game? As I spoke, the memories flooded back. The laughter I thought we shared, the plans we made, only for him to turn those moments into an elaborate trap. You have no idea what you have done to me, I spoke slowly, deliberately. Eric raised an eyebrow, amused. Oh, please enlighten me. I leaned in, my fists clenched tightly on the table, fighting the urge to grab him by the collar. You turned me into someone I didn't recognize, someone filled with rage. I lost friends, lost trust. Do you know how hard it was to rebuild my life, to start over? My voice cracked, a few stray tears spilling over. I brushed them away quickly, unwilling to show weakness. Eric's laughter echoed around us like shards of glass. Rebuild your life, that's rich. You just need to get over yourself. Life moves on, and so should you. His dismissive tone ignited further fury within my chest. No, you don't get to say that, not after what you did. I yelled, the noise in the diner fading away as the weight of my voice pulled the attention of the nearby tables. There has to be consequences for people like you. I want you to feel something. I want you to know what you did to me. Eric's eyes narrowed as he leaned in, the smile gone, replaced by a cold determination. And what exactly do you think you can do about it? Suddenly, the adrenaline pulsed through my veins like fire. You will find out soon enough. In that moment, everything changed. I realized I had the power to decide how this would end. I had planned a reckoning, and I wouldn't let him dismiss me. My voice lowered, calm but fierce. I hope you enjoy your coffee, Eric, because soon you might find it's not the only bitter thing about your life. I stood up, leaving him with confusion etched on his face. The diner felt electric as I turned to leave, the weight of our confrontation lingering in the air. As I stepped into the cool night, the chill wrapped around me, sealing my resolve. There was no turning back now. I had waited too long. I could already feel the pieces falling into place. This was not just about revenge anymore, it was about reclaiming my life and my strength. No more running, no more hiding. Eric had initiated this battle, and I was ready to win. The night stretched out before me, and the taste of revenge was close, tantalizingly sweet.